Okay, here at the DPR testing grounds once again, just wanted to show you how I could go about turning an easy road into more of a three-dimensional object. Like I've said before, I'm not sure that this is necessarily something we want to do, but certainly showing you that it can be done. But what you want to do is follow Mike's tutorial and get yourself an easy road spline. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this into Blender and make it more three-dimensional and then bring it back into Unity. The way you're going to do that is you're going to get that scene OBJ exporter that I used in my bulkhead tutorial. You're going to get that from the asset store. Once you install that, you're going to have in the File tab this new Export tab that allows you to export a wavefront OBJ. So go ahead and select your spline road or the piece of the road that you want to turn into more three-dimensional, and then you're going to export this wavefront OBJ. Tick these selected objects, untick, I guess you can just leave it as that, and then you click export, and I'm just going to call this tutorial OBJ, and then go into Blender. You're going to go File, Import OBJ, and then find that file, bring in that tutorial. Now you're going to see it's not going to show up right in the middle of your screen. If you hit the period on numpad, or if you're using a Mac and you go View, Align View, and then go View Selected, it will bring you out to the object. And if it shows up pink like this, it's just because I don't have the material in here set up right. So just change your viewport to solid. So to get out to where we were, that was either the View, Align View, View Selected, or hit the period button on your numpad, and that will bring you out to where that road is in the world space here. If you hit select it with the left mouse, hit tab and go into edit view, you're going to see how this thing is UV textured. Once again, I've got the two split windows here. My window on the right is the UV image editor. The way you can do that, hopefully you guys know that, but you come up to this triangle, drag it to the left, and now you've got another window, and then we're going to change that to the UV image editor. And now what we're going to want to do is we got to make this have some dimension to it. It's just flat, it's a plane right now, and so you're going to select the edge select, and then you're going to select using Alt. So hold down Alt and left mouse click one of the edges, and now you're going to see it went most of the way around. It's highlighted in orange, but it didn't do everything. So go to the other side and hold down Shift and Alt, and now left mouse button on an edge, and now you're going to see all the edges are selected all the way around. All the Alt button does is it's a ring select. The Shift is basically adding another ring select, but for whatever reason it doesn't ring select all the way around it, and you got to do it in two to get this. Now what we're going to want to do is extrude some new faces, and so you're going to hit E to extrude, and then Z to constrain it to the Z axis, and then I'm going to hit -1. So then what that did was just it extruded it 1 meter down. Now my path I think is 3 meters. I just did it the way Mike has done on his tutorial. Now you're going to see if I hit A to select everything here, you're going to see that our faces that we just created do not have any UV mapping right now. So if we imported this back into Blender right now, or sorry, into Unity, then we would not end up having the correct texture mapping on the side of the road here. It would be stretched funny. So what we want to do is we've got to unwrap this, and it's really easy, but you got to use some special moves to do it. So A to select the whole object. You're going to start by going Control F and change your tris to quads. So this is, see where it says tris to quads? And you'll see that those triangles here on the right now all of a sudden became quads. And now what you're going to want to do is on the right, on the UV editor side, is pick this here, that's the face selection, and just pick any of the faces here, just one of them. Okay? And then you're going to come back to the left panel here and click U and choose Follow Active Quad. So this is going to unwrap, but it's going to keep all the dimensions that were currently, or were presently, that Easy Roads had done for us, and it's not going to distort our new ones that we've added. If you choose Follow Active Quads and you leave this on the edge length mode, should be length average, and choose OK, it's going to do all our unwrapping. And so now it's done it nice and neatly, and that was not painful, which was nice. And now we're ready to import it back in. So now you could leave it like this, but in the end I think you guys are looking for something more. So this would be a 90-degree sort of kind of what I call a butt joint, but just a 90-degree edge to your path. If you want a little something more, right now look at it. We've got 2,000 tries. If you want something more, click this wrench over here on the right. And the wrench is the modifier tab, and then choose bevel. Now I've got my bevel settings on a width of 10, segments of 1, a profile of 0.5, and a material of -1. And so now when you look at this and you zoom in, you're going to see that, sorry, I hit the period there to kind of, it's kind of like the F button in Unity, just so I can get a little closer. So you can see it's a rounded edge. If you actually look at the wireframe, it's really made up, it's just a bevel, it's a 45-degree bevel, and it's 10 centimeters in width. If I dial this down, you'll see the bevel change. So I'm going to leave it at 10. But if I've got the shading, sorry, that went to 10 meters, 10 cm. If you have the shading, I'm going to go back into that solid mode. If you have the shading on smooth here, if you hit W, the shade's on smooth already. You see how it's rounded. So it's basically doing a little bit of trickery on its own there, how it's shading it. But if you shade flat, then you'll get a stronger or a hard chiseled edge. So you could have a 45 with a chiseled edge if you want. Going to go back into edit mode here. And I'm going to hit W again and go shade smooth. I don't like the chiseled edge, but see there you have a rounded edge and a chiseled edge. And basically, look at that, 6,800 tries. So we tripled the try count for what we're doing here. But I don't think it will be detrimental in the end. Now the only other thing is I'm going to do one last sort of fancier sort of thing for you. Zoom in here. If you want even more dimension on this, actually I'm going to do two things. One, you could up your segments, and then you're going to see how that's, it's rounding out the edge a little differently. I will tell you that's overkill, and then when I tab out of here, you're going to see that's 24,000 tries, so I think that's a bad idea. So come back in here and take my segments back down to 1. The only other thing that doesn't add a ton, but is kind of different, is if you tab in here, and we're going to make it, it's on solid view, and I'm going to go to face select mode. Now what I'm going to do is pick a face here, hold down Alt and pick one of the top faces to the road, and hold down Alt left mouse button, and it selects all the middle pieces. And then I'm going to basically just inset a piece here. So if I hit I, you can inset, and let's just do it a number. Let's do I 0.4. So then that's just like that. And then you're going to move this so you can go G to grab and Z minus 0.2. And now you've kind of got, if you wanted, now you've got some sort of curve to this. The other thing that you could do, I'm going to Control Z, so you could move it down or you could move it up. So moving it down is going to give you sort of a bank to your cart path. Control Z here to get it back. The other option is G to grab, Z, and move it up 0.2. And now you've got basically what amounts to, it's going to give you, let me go back so see if you can get that. Let me get out of, there we go. It's going to give you sort of two edges there. And you could even inset that a little more if you wanted, but it's going to give you a little rounded edge, which I'd assume you'd sort of put this right at your ground level, and then there's going to be a second rounded. It's kind of more like a pillow top. But you can mess around with that depending on what you really want. But now what you've got to do is take this out of here and bring it back into Unity. And so with your object selected, and so I'm in object mode, remember tab to move in and out of object and edit mode, object selected, file, export, FBX. On the left here, tick select objects and experimental apply transform. And then I'm just going to call this tutorial and export that. And then I'm just going to come back into my project here and I'm going to import that, find the tutorial and import it. And then up here in the inspector, you're going to untick import animations, click apply. You're going to go to the model tab, click generate colliders, scroll down and change by base texture name to from models material, click apply. And then you're going to drag this in. You're not going to see it right away. So then go assets, or sorry, game object, move to view, and then use the arrows to bring this up until you can see it. And then what you're going to want to do is use your V to find an edge and then lock it down over your easy road path that you had before. And I'm just going to pick this vertex V, left mouse, and then drag it over it. And then you're going to just have to tweak it some to get it exactly like you want it. But I think this would maybe rectify Justin's issue where you want something a little higher and get out of some of that Z fighting. This may be able to do it for you. I'm going to just get my easy road path out of the way. You would obviously delete it, but just to show you that you know, you can kind of plant that right at the level there, where, and you can kind of see the dimensions where I was saying we've got sort of two sort of sections on this that are beveled. You could even just maybe even widen up your bevel, and you wouldn't need as many tries to do that. So just small thing I forgot to mention, don't forget you want to set up your physics material. So we had it as a collider, or we added that on the import. Change your material to concrete, and then also don't forget to take off your shadow. And then the material I've applied to this was the same road material that Mike had shown on how to set up in his easy road tutorial. All right, enjoy.